a breath of fresh air. San Francisco 49er fans are going to love what Robert Saleh and Brandt Boyer both had to say this week. They were introduced to the media for the first time, and it gets me very excited for what the Niners are capable of doing on defense and on special teams in 2025. Of course, a lot of you very familiar with Robert Saleh. He was the Niners defensive coordinator, hired by Kyle Shanahan when he came to San Francisco from Atlanta. When he was the offensive coordinator there, Saleh was working with the Jaguars organization, and right away, the energy, the quality coaching, he made his impact be felt. And just like Shanahan was able to turn around the offense in a couple of years, Saleh was able to do the same with the defense. And even though he got fired by the New York Jets, his defenses still performed well with New York. And with what he had to say, and we're going to talk about this over the next several minutes, it should get you very excited for what to expect here this upcoming season. And then with Brandt Boyer, he worked under Robert Saleh while with the New York Jets, follows Saleh to the Niners. Over the last few years, he's been one of the top special teams coordinators in the NFL. And he loves ball. And you're about to find out, if you're not familiar with him, he is a football guy. And I think that is going to directly result in better results for San Francisco. It's all coming up right now on the San Francisco 49ers Report. Chase Sr. here with you. Let's go. Let's go back to what Robert Saleh and Brandt Boyer had to say yesterday. And I'm so pumped up for the change in coaching philosophy and how I think that these two coordinators are going to improve 2/3 of this Niners team, defense and special teams. And so with Saleh, look back at how the Niners fared under Nick Sorensen last year defensively. Points per game, they were 29th. Points per play, 29th. Third down conversion percentage, 25th. Couldn't get off the field. Fourth down conversion rate, even worse, at 26th among 32 teams. Their red zone scoring percentage was second to last in the NFL, meaning when teams got inside the 20, this is ridiculous. They scored a touchdown 68% of the time. The Niners also gave up nearly 3 touchdowns per game. That ranked 26th. And they weren't good against the run. 17th in yards per rush. They missed a bunch of tackles. They were 18th in rushing yards per game at 124.6. They didn't generate a lot of turnovers defensively, and then offensively, they turned the ball over a lot. Not a formula to win, so they only averaged 1 takeaway per ball game, and they really couldn't get to the quarterback. Pass rush win rate, sack percentage, not good, and their sacks per game, 2.2, that was 23rd. And so why I loved the Robert Saleh hire and bringing him back, he's willing to evolve the defense and make the necessary adjustments throughout a season and in-game to help stall the opposing offense. Sometimes NFL coordinators can get very rigid and they don't change their ways. And they have that thought process of, well, I've always done it this way. Why should I change? That's not how Robert Saleh rolls. He's also one of the top defensive minds in the entire National Football League. He has a history of success as the Niners defensive coordinator, and I know he got fired by the Jets. That's because they never got quarterback right. His defenses performed very well statistically and on tape. Saleh can also maximize personnel. That's especially important with all of these rookies coming to San Francisco, and the Niners need those rookies to have a big impact here in 2025 and beyond. And then lastly, players have talked about this. Kyle Shanahan has talked about this. The Niners need juice back on that sideline. Kyle Shanahan is not a rah-rah guy, nor was Nick Sorensen, nor was Steve Wilkes. And Robert Saleh brings that accountability and high-level coaching. And I think this Niners defense is going to be much better in 2025 than they were in 2024. And defensively last year, some of the things that the Niners did were absolutely idiotic. Against Minnesota on the road, lining up George Odom in the slot against Justin Jefferson, that resulted in a near 100-yard touchdown from Sam Darnold to Justin Jefferson? How about that Lions game where it was 4th and goal for Detroit at like the 4-yard line, and the Niners played off coverage, which led to an easy pitch and catch for Jared Goff? Those are just 2 instances. Outside of that, they sucked. Here's what Saleh said about returning to the Niners. Obviously, I've gone through the head coaching stuff, and you learn a lot going through that, but I'm happy to be back in this chair where I get to coach a little bit more football and not deal with the administrative stuff that comes with being a head coach. The perspective, I guess, especially, and that's what was exciting about coming back. For sure, the defense has evolved. You're always trying to stay 2 years ahead of the offense. And when we went to the Jets, there were a lot of different things that we started to do. And even now, while we have some things from the Jets, there's stuff that has evolved over the course of the last 4 years here. And obviously, with the league, there's stuff happening over this offseason. A lot of really cool concepts introduced. So some things are the same. Some things are the same from the Jets. Some things are meshed. Some things are coming in that are new. We're trying to stay a couple of years ahead. A lot of it may seem similar, but there's a lot of nuance that makes a difference. Faithful, Niner gang, Niner Empire. How refreshing is that? Steve Wilkes didn't have that type of mentality. Nick Sorensen wasn't good enough to be creative and evolve. And in life, in sports, and in business, we must adapt and evolve. You might have success for a little while, but if you stay the same and you stay in that same lane, at some point, it's going to get stale. Other people are going to catch up. You can use those experiences to continue to be great, but you also have to adapt, evolve, and make changes. And that's what Saleh does as a defensive mind. He's also open to new, creative, and exciting things. He left the Niners, same defensive scheme, but a couple of new wrinkles with the Jets. And this offseason, focusing on incorporating new things with San Francisco. Offenses, especially in the NFL, high school, college too, are always creating and innovating. Defenses in the NFL have to do the same. And you think about the top defensive coordinators in the National Football League. They all do this very well. Think about how exotic Vic Fangio, Brian Flores, Steve Spagnuolo, Jim Schwartz have gotten with their respective defenses. They've all been in the league for a long time. They have the same principles and philosophies. They look at football in the foundational way, which is what got them to these positions, but they've also adapted and evolved. And Robert Saleh has done the same. So I think San Francisco is going to improve so much just because of better coaching alone. And I can't wait to see what this defense looks like. I can't wait to see what Saleh is able to do with some of these young players. Some other notables from what he had to say. Saleh said, I'm forever indebted to the Niners, Jed York, Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, for what they did for me previously and then bringing me back. He said he didn't want to be a defensive coordinator anywhere else but with the Niners. As far as the Niners draft process, he called it a collaborative approach because the coaching staff has some say. Some people might like that, some others don't. I think it's important for coaches to have a little bit of a say, but you have to rely on your scouting department and your front office as well. That's why it's a collaborative approach, right? The coaches know what types of players are good for their schemes, and the scouting departments know which players are best for the Niners and who are the best overall prospects. And so Saleh called this process the gold standard of the NFL. On the rookies who the Niners drafted, I think there's a chance Mykel Williams, Alfred Collins, C.J. West, Upton Stout, and Nick Martin all start. That's 5 rookie starters right there. And Saleh said if any of them are worthy, they'll be on the field week 1. Youth movement for San Francisco, another reason why I'm excited for 2025 and beyond. If you're pumped up to have Robert Saleh back with the Niners, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video right now. We'll talk special teams coming up here just around the corner, but get geared up for the upcoming 2025 season. It's going to be here before we know it. The NFL schedule release is coming up on May 14th. Only 5 days away as of this recording. So in a few days here, we'll know who the Niners are playing and when they're playing those games. You want to support the Niners? You want to support the show? Go to chatsports.com/49jersey. It will redirect you to Fanatics. Fanatics will know that Chat Sports, Chase Sr., and the 49ers Report sent you. All types of different jerseys available. Current players, past players, home jerseys, away jerseys, men's, women's, kids, authentic, replica, whatever you want. Use that link down below. And if you do use that link, you can also find other gear, shirts, hoodies, polos. You know I'm a polo guy. Pajamas, slippers. You can get it all. Chatsports.com/49jersey. So Brandt Boyer is the new Niners special teams coach. He survived 3 different regime changes with the New York Jets. And, of course, worked under Robert Saleh for the last few years after Saleh took that job in 2021. And I would also be shocked if the Niners special teams unit doesn't improve drastically. Brant Boyer brings an old school, take no prisoners type of mentality to this coaching staff. Saleh clearly really liked him. When I was at the NFL Combine, John Lynch was saying, yeah, Saleh had some influence with bringing Boyer with him. He's a former linebacker, played in the league for about a decade. And this Niners team last year, they were horrible on special teams. Every week, errors and miscues. They allowed successful fake punts. They had costly penalties, muffed return attempts, bad tackling, bad scheme. Jake Moody was bad. He missed a bunch of field goals. And the Niners special teams DVOA rankings under Brian Schneider, 15th in 2022. You can live there. You can't survive having the worst overall special teams unit. And then with DVOA, 25th in 2023 and 31st in 2024. Only the Titans were worse. And they had the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. And bad special teams play has hurt the Niners in some really big games. Regular season, playoffs, and in the Super Bowl. And under Kyle Shanahan, this has been a troubling trend. Special teams DVOA under Shanahan since he got hired. 31st in 2024, 25th in 2023, 15th in 2022, 26th in 2021, 23rd in 2020, 12th in 2019, 14th in 2018, 11th in 2017. Good start, bad the last few years. As for where the Jets have ranked in special teams EPA, under Brant Boyer, 2024, 26th. But 2023, 11th, 2022, 13th, 2021, 19th, 2020, 25th, 2019, 8th, 2018, 1st, 2017, 2016, 17th, and 30th. Cumulatively, that is 14th throughout his entire tenure. You are expecting the Niners to be better offensively and better defensively, right? And so if both of those units carry their weight, if you are in the middle of the pack on special teams, you can get by. Of course, you always shoot to be better than that, but you can get by being middle of the pack. And Brant Boyer, additionally, outside of some of the analytics, look at some of these numbers. During his Jets tenure, 2016 through 2024, he led a special teams unit that ranked tied for 2nd in total touchdowns with 9, 2nd in blocked punts with 8, tied for 5th in special teams points scored with 63, and opponent kickoff return average at 21.8. Under his guidance, 2 players, Braxton Berrios and Andre Roberts, earned first-team All-Pro honors as returners, while 3 players, Justin Hardy, Roberts, and kicker Jason Myers, made Pro Bowl appearances. So some really positive numbers and trends. Also keep in mind, Boyer with the Jets, he didn't have a lot to work with. And what did the Niners do this offseason? Credit to Shanahan. He was pressed about this after the year. He got kind of salty, but then him, John Lynch, the Niners, they go out and they brought in a ton of special teams impact players in free agency. And then they drafted a few guys who have special teams ability. And what Brant Boyer had to say, it's like, hallelujah. Overall mindset, he said. At the end of the day, this is a violent game played by men. Special teams is a one-on-one matchup 90% of the time. And it's either you or him, and it's going to be you, period. And that's the whole mindset that I want these guys to understand, that we're here for them, we're here to make them better, and that's what it comes down to. I'm here to do the best job I can to create a culture that it shouldn't be like punishment to play special teams. And I think teams around the league, that moniker, which comes out like, oh man, I don't want to play special teams, it shouldn't be like that. That's how I made a living. That's how a lot of people make a living in this league. And if you can create a culture that the guys know you give a damn about them, they're going to play for you, and that's what I'm trying to do. Just like Saleh's approach that we talked about a little while ago here on this show, that right there is refreshing. And Brian Schneider just didn't approach it like that, didn't carry himself like that, and didn't have that type of mentality. The Niners team was a little bit soft last year. They need to get back to being dogs. And other notables here from Boyer, he thinks that Jake Moody can really bounce back. He thought the injury was a large part of his struggles last year. He said, I don't know a special teams coach around the NFL personally who didn't have him as the number 1 overall kicker coming out of Michigan a couple of years ago. He also said the Niners' new long snapper can help Jake Moody. A little bit of a shot maybe at Tabor Pepper. Other notables here. Boyer very high on 7th-round pick Junior Bergen out of Montana. Bergen speaking today, and he said, my goal is to be a Hall of Famer. Maybe he can be a Hall of Famer as a return man. Kyle Shanahan had mentioned on Bergen that we're bringing him in as an exclusive returner. He was one of the best returners in the history of FCS football while at Montana. Interesting career path, really good athlete, started as a running back, went to wide receiver, so dynamic as a returner, and we're talking splash plays, whether they be long punt returns or touchdowns. The opportunity to flip the field, put your offense in a position where they have a shorter field, and they can put points on the board. Again, special teams is important. If you're still hanging out here on the show, let's do a Real One roll call. Give me a real one down in the comments section. I hope everybody out there has a phenomenal weekend, and I'll catch you soon.